You're listening to the One Foot at a Time podcast presented by Drill Right Chemical. We're live at the HDD Rodeo with this week's special guest, Frank Duregger, owner of HDD Supply and Equipment in Florida.
Guys, thanks for tuning in with us today. We're here in Louisville, Kentucky at the Utility Expo, set up right here at the HDD Rodeo. That's the guys, what they're doing behind us is they're all competing to see who's going to win the rodeo. Got a great turnout this year. We've got special guests with us today, Frank Duregger. He is from Florida. He's got HDD Supply down there. He's rocking and rolling. We were going to learn a little bit about him, his company, and what he's about. Frank, with that being said, tell us a little bit how you got into the HDD business. Where are you from? Give us some background.
Well, I actually grew up in north central Iowa. I had worked for Stellar Industries, actually, who's here.
Okay.
As a product manager for them as one of my first jobs. Met a friend there that used to work at Vermeer. Always talked about how great of a company it was. And I found out that one of my friends, actually standing right behind us there, Kurt Kopacik, was working there. So I put a resume in. They were not hiring at the factory. He said they're hiring in Florida. And as an Iowa guy, I said, hey, let's just put my name in and see what happens.
Sign me up, yeah.
So they ended up hiring me down in Fort Myers, and I worked at Vermeer down there for years. I transferred out to Texas as a salesman for a bit. Then I worked for a pipe supply company. And then when they closed the doors, I ended up just going out on my own. So it's kind of a full circle here in the last, that was in 2001 when I started with Vermeer.
You started with Vermeer in 2001.
Yep.
When did you go out on your own? About what year was that?
That was around 2010, 2011, but then I officially started HDD Supply in January of, I think it was 2012.
Okay.
So did that for a while. As you know, the market went down a little bit, got a little frustrated, kind of took a year and a half off, did some other stuff, and then, I just couldn't stay away from it. It's something I enjoy. I like being out in the field. I like, trying to solve problems with customers and, just building those relationships on a daily basis.
Well, everything you're doing is always moving in an industry like what you're in, and what does a typical day look like for you? Like, tell us what a typical day in the life of Frank Duregger looks like.
Well, a typical day is normally managed chaos. When we started, I started with a 14-foot Harley trailer, and I went job site to job site. And as we started building that, then our name kind of got out there, and guys were giving references, and next thing you know, we had a couple shops, and now I think we're on our third or fourth shop in the last 5 years. Now, originally, I drop shipped drill pipe. But in the last 5 to 7 years is when we really started getting into the full supply line. So it's anywhere between, I was doing everything myself. I had my daughter working for me in my shop, and I was doing all the deliveries, all the sales, all the collections, everything. So now we're getting to a point where we're growing the business where I have to relinquish some of my control, which is hard to do. But we've got some good people, I think, in place now that can do that and allow me to go out and do what I love to do, and that's sell. So, and try and take all the back office away from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you can take some of that off your shoulders and do what you do best, I mean, it's only going to make your company flourish more.
Yes. And that's, like I said, I'm kind of a control freak with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just need to make sure that I'm okay with that and allow the mistakes to happen, which is, as you probably know, is not easy to do sometimes.
No. But that's how you grow. Yep. That's exactly how you grow. And, it's fun, and it is very hard to do when you think, well, I can do it better, I'll just do it myself, or I can do it faster, or it's easier for me to do it than tell somebody how to do it. But when you step back from that and give whoever it is that's in that role, give them a chance to grow themselves and watch them grow. There's nothing more satisfying to me than to have somebody on your team that you've helped mentor a little bit and watch them grow in the process. I think I get more satisfaction on that than I do making a sale somewhere.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm going through right now. I've got one of the newer guys up here with me, and just seeing them when they're, kind of figuring things out and seeing those light bulbs go off, and the things that we talk about on a daily basis, they may not always see.
Right.
But to be able to see everything here at the expo is awesome, because you're seeing competitive stuff, you're seeing issues that might arise, or kind of pointing things out to them, and that way when they go back, then they're even better in the field for us. And that's what that's what we want to do at HDD Supply. When I started it, I said, what do I want to do differently? And it was, I just came up with my slogan of, I'm going to do stuff that the other people won't.
Right.
And that's really given that personal stuff. Now, as we grow, will that always be able to be there? No, but if I get the right people in place, then it will continue with those relationships.
Can you think of a time where you guys just had something going on that you had to really pull together to pull something off?
We're starting the new location is probably the hardest one, because we've had to maintain the sales that we had, getting a bunch more inventory in, dealing with new vendors like yourself.
Right.
And, just kind of getting a feel for that and the product, and just really, grinding it out and making sure that we, didn't take anything for granted either. You can't do that. I mean, we're in a blessed spot. I mean, there's a lot of people that do this, and I feel pretty lucky to be doing it and doing it for so long. This is my 24th year of being in the directional drilling industry. So, it's just getting together and having them figure things out. That's almost better to me than us trying to get a customer out of a bind, because that just shows growth there. But, it comes down to shots where guys are having troubles with clay, or they're having troubles in Florida. We obviously have a lot of problems with sand, and just talking them through that, and the customer calling us back and telling us everything worked. I mean, that's awesome for me.
When you first started in the supply chain industry, the way people ordered back then compared to the way they do now, because this industry is notorious for people waiting to the last second to get something. Nobody, there are very few of them think far ahead.
Right.
So do you see that? How has that changed since you first started to where you're at now? Does it seem to be?
It was, when I was with Vermeer, it seemed to me that every time the customers needed something, they were coming into the shop. Where now, I think we live in such a fast-paced society anyway, and then everybody's wanting to get that footage in the ground. Traffic's getting worse in areas we're at. So the more that we have it available to us to get it to them, efficiency is the key, both on our side and on the customer side. So, we just have to make sure that we keep our nose to the grindstone. But now we've gotten to a point where guys have bought from us so regularly that if I feel like I may have an open day, or less busy of a day, that I will go ahead and call them right away and say, hey, it's been a week or so, are you guys needing this? And they'll let me know. Well, now I can get on that today because I know the next 3 or 4. So we're really having to be proactive on following up with these guys as well, and not just waiting for them to call us.
There's a lot of challenges that go on behind the scenes that nobody really knows about. And I think the more that, people know that what you do and how you perform for them is based on how they perform with you. The further notice they can let you know that, hey, I've got a project coming up, I'm going to need this, this, and this, you can prepare, because, you're in Florida. Most of the stuff is not made in Florida.
No.
So you've got to be able to get stuff in there, get the right amount in there, have the time to get it shipped, have the time. If the manufacturer doesn't have it made, you've got to give them time to get it produced, get it shipped to you, and have it ready for that project. So, that's a huge challenge, I would think.
Oh, of course. It's, most of our stuff, comes out of Texas, comes out of, the Midwest. And that is the biggest challenge that we have, because we'll have, and there'll be different times where we go on runs with certain products where we have what we need in stock. And next thing you know, a guy might have a massive clay job come up, and we might sell so much for the product per month. Now we're selling 3 times that amount because he's on a massive project along with the other guys.
Yep.
Now that's where the struggle and the frustration comes in of, oh man, how do we get this stuff here faster? Because they bought me out of everything. They may burn through it in a couple days. Am I going to be able to have it here fast enough?
Oh, yeah.
So we've gotten to the point where as you grow and, money becomes a little bit more liquid to you, then you can go out and buy some of those products and get them there and buy those in more of a bulk than before. I never thought, years ago when I started this, I would never think that we'd have the inventory that we have.
No.
And let alone sell some of the stuff.
It would only get bigger the larger you get.
Yep. And that's what we have to make sure of, because obviously being in the drilling business for years, I've watched guys grow way too fast, and it's hurt them.
Oh, yeah.
And I just don't want to be that guy that does that. So trying to find that balance between, not causing myself a lot of frustration and heartache, but yet taking care of the customers, that's a really fine line that we have to balance, especially since we're not a corporate entity. We're basically, we're mom and pop.
Right.
So, and that's what I take pride in, and it's the relationships, and and they're more open with us now. They're getting to a point where they will let us know as well. Hey, I've got a big job coming up. I'm gonna need this in a week, and we've kind of almost had to train them to do that. But it's working out well for us at this point.
Well, I'm a firm believer. If you don't have it, you can't sell it. If
Absolutely.
you're doing a great job of that, you're keeping product down there. You're keeping the stuff that people are telling you they're going to have, and you're not afraid to step out and make it happen. No. So that says a lot about you. You trust the people in the industry, and you're running with it. And I'm impressed with what you got going down there.
I appreciate that.
What part of the work that you do gives you the most satisfaction?
It's really solving the problems, and wanting to be the go-to guy for them, because if they're not coming to you, obviously you've done something wrong. And I don't want to. I always try and treat it like my business.
Yep.
And if I make a suggestion to someone on, hey, you're running this sort of tooling, let's switch it up here. Just like I tell the employees and drivers, I will never ask you to do something that I haven't done or wouldn't do myself, and I will not ever sell anything to anybody that I wouldn't actually put on a rig myself. So I just think that, just trying to push certain products, but that comes with learning the ground conditions, that actual driller, that company, and kind of how they tick.
Right.
And, it takes time. It's, I'm still learning every day, 24 years in it. And the minute I tell you that I've got everything figured out is the day that you probably won't see me in business again.
Right. Well, you've got a bigger challenge than I do, because people call me every day, and they call our mud engineers and guys, and they're like, hey, we're having this problem. This ain't working. This is, walk us through it. Help us get this, we're getting pressures are too high, whatever the case may be. So we have the science of mud and the products, and we help them out. But when you're supplying everything like you do, everybody expects you to be an expert on every single part. And I think that's where you have to surround yourself with good support system in every direction of what you're supplying.
That's what I was just going to say. As far as the vendors that I deal with, it's really, you're our newest vendor that we deal with, right? So most of them have been with me since the beginning, and I've grown with them, and I do have a loyalty to that. I have a loyalty to certain people as well. So, if they go somewhere, and the reason for that is if I don't have the answer, which sometimes I don't,
right,
I know that I have those people that I can call, and that's the most important thing to them. I don't just put that on the back burner and go, I'm not going to feed them full of crap.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I tell them something wrong, they're going to find out real quick if I was lying to them, and it's not worth it. So, that old adage, if you do something right for somebody, they tell a couple people, and you do something wrong, they're going to tell everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And I just don't want to be that guy.
Being here at the Utility Expo, it feels good. Everybody's out here. Everybody's doing their thing, and I know you're on the supply side. So tell us how you feel here, how it is making a bigger picture for you in the future. Just being here, meet some new vendors, meet some people that might add to your arsenal of products. How's that feel?
It feels great, especially getting the new guys up here to kind of learn some of that, to maybe down the road take some of that stuff off me as I want to venture out and do different things. If we bring in different products, I can't do everything at one time.
No.
So to be able to meet people, calling them on the phone, trying to get new products, that doesn't always really work, but seeing them face to face and having, you can kind of see the integrity of people as well and kind of get a judgment based off of them.
Yeah.
And that's the people I want to surround myself with. And, somebody has a product and it's a little bit more money, but I don't really gel with them, then I'm going to go with a product that's more money because I feel like I'm going to have the support that I need. So I feel like I get a lot better read out of people here than if I'm just at the house or at the office calling on people and trying to figure out what to bring in.
I've met up with people here at the show. For example, the right wipes that we sell.
Yep.
That all come about because of Utility Expo.
Yeah.
I met a guy. He was making these wipes, and I asked him, "Will it take drill pipe off? The rod grease? Will it take rod grease off?" And he's like, "What's rod grease?" And he didn't know. And I, educated him on what rod grease was. Gave him some rod grease, and I told him, I said, "When you can get that on your jeans or get that on your hands, and you find something that'll wipe that off, holler at me. I think I could sell that." And I didn't think I'd ever hear from him again. And he called me up about 4 months later. He said, "Man, I've got what you're looking for." And I said, well, send me a few cases of it, and let's let the guys try it in the field. And sure enough, it works.
I carry it in my truck every day.
Yeah, it works great.
Yeah.
But it all is because of Utility Expo, because that's exactly where we met the guy at.
Well, I think, over the since COVID, and I know everybody's tired of hearing about that, but I really think that people's business models have changed on thinking outside the box, right? So you have to have something that really sets yourself apart from the competition. And if it's little things like the lights, if it's this, if it, everybody's doing a lot of the same thing, but what are you going to really do that sets you apart from that competition?
Right.
And, and I love coming here because a lot of these guys I've known for 20, 25 years, and I'm always picking their brain. What you do does not always translate over to how I should do it, but parts of what you do. And then I kind of pick from that and, kind of really establish of who I am, who we are, and what way I want to, how I'm comfortable in presenting the product and presenting myself. So it just gives you that camaraderie too, because this is a very small world. And that's what I love about directional drilling is somebody that knows somebody else that you want to get with.
It's a huge industry, but it's a small industry at the same time.
Yes.
And, I tell everybody, don't ever do anybody wrong in this industry if you're going, because word gets around really fast.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's a brotherhood. And,
absolutely.
And people stick together. People, even if they're your competition, you still work together. You're still friends out here. We still get along.
Absolutely.
And we share that information.
Well, and you just don't know where you might end up down the road. You might end up working with that person that you may have had a beef with.
Right.
You somehow, some way, you're going to intertwine with these people again, and you don't want to have that bad blood there. And the only thing that you really have in this world anymore is your word. So if you can't, be what you say you're going to be, and you can't actually live it, then you don't have anything else to offer anybody, as far as I'm concerned.
What's one thing that you've learned from working closely with people on a day-to-day basis? Can you name one thing? It's
that everybody, same personalities, I may have to treat differently.
Right.
And it's just like having kids. I used to coach basketball, and you can't coach every kid the same way, but trying to get my point across to someone that may not want to make a change on something, but I have a good relationship with them, how I say that is going to be totally different from person A to person B. To get them to comprehend that, because everybody digests that information differently. So that, I think, has been one of the biggest things, and I probably should have paid more attention in psychology class.
Right.
But I think I got a pretty good grasp on it now after 20-some years of selling. So it's, that's just how to handle the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where exactly are you located?
So right now we have a store in Tampa. We're about a couple miles east of downtown Tampa. And we were making so much running back and forth to Orlando and up north and down south that I couldn't do it all myself, especially with the traffic that we have now in Florida.
Right.
So we ended up, I brought a new guy on. We actually used to work together years ago. Jason Coley is now running our DeLand location, which is northeast of Orlando. I'd say 45 minutes, but that can vary. But now he's able to handle a lot of the East Coast and take, some of that stuff off my plate. And we have a guy in our office over there all the time, and he's running all that. So we've just got the 2 locations for now. May look at adding 1 or 2 more, not sure yet, but just kind of want to be great in the areas we're at now versus expanding too fast.
Well, hey, one thing about it, you've got to grow healthy.
Yep.
And, that's, if there was one thing that I've learned in this industry, you've got to grow healthy. If you can grow yourself broke.
Absolutely.
And, watching guys do that is not fun.
No.
So when you can grow healthy, grow in your means, and, let your customers help grow with you.
Yep.
Where is your company? Where do you see your company going in the future?
Well, hopefully I can start backing away from stuff in the next 10 to 12 years when my wife retires from teaching after 30-some years. I've got my daughter working for me. I've got her boyfriend that's working with me. He's driving for me. So if we can start turning some of that stuff over, and Jason and everybody, I just have to, I'd like to still be doing what I'm doing, but I just don't want to run as hard as what I've done.
Yeah.
I'm getting approaching 50, Dennis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
so I don't think
you're
I've,
talking to a 53-year-old that just I'm 4 weeks out of
like I said, I don't want to have hip surgery.
replacement.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't need that. So, but it's, it's also finding that balance as I get older and spending that time with my wife and with my grandkids. And, I've got 3 awesome grandkids. So, just spending that time with them and being able to make time for them by putting pieces in play now that will allow me to do that down the road.
That's great. Well, if somebody wants to check you out online, how do they find you? How do they get a hold of you?
Well, hopefully I don't dig too deep, but it's www.hddsupply.com. And we've got our Facebook page as well and our Instagram page. Same thing with HDD Supply, so
Okay.
they can check us out there. They can give us a call directly on our mobile numbers. I don't have any office numbers because I don't want anything being paged through, so they go directly to our people. And then that way, if they can't get one of us, they can always get the other one.
So it's hddsupply.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Frank, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being willing to sit down and share your life with us. And you're doing a great job down there. I appreciate you bringing us on as one of your suppliers, and really love what you got going down there. We feel very fortunate to be a part of it. So with
I
that
appreciate
being said,
that, but I think I'm going to need, if I'm going to stay with Drill Right, I might need a better salesman that covers my area.
yes,
We might have to work on that.
Yeah, well, we'll find you one that's polished and been around and got a good.
We can do
amount of
that.
time, yeah.
We can do that. So that's a shout out to Andrew Golly. by the
That's
way.
right. Well, man, I really appreciate
All
you
right, thank
sitting
you.
down and taking time to be with us today.
I appreciate it.
We'll see you on the road somewhere.